Hello and welcome back to another episode from Driving Britain. Today's episode is a reaction video, a British person reacting to an American who's reacting to British sweets that you can't get in America. I'm not really sure what sweets he's going to pop up with because I'm sure that Cadbury's is now America, and we do get some American chocolate brands over here now and again, but not many. I'm not sure. Well, let's just jump right in and have a look.
Do people in Britain call them sweets instead of candy? Because I noticed the title of this video, British sweets. Because in America, we don't really say the word sweets ever, unless we're kind of making a joke, or if it's in a kid's cartoon or something. So I actually noticed that was kind of funny to me.
Yeah, the person whose video that we're looking at is Tyler Rumpel. The link's in the description. Yes, we do call them sweets. I know you call them candy, and if we're trying to describe the hard shell around some sweets, we might call it a candy shell. But generally, they're just called sweets. Whether they're actual little sweets, you know, like jellies and things like that, or chews, or whether we're talking about chocolates, they would all generally be called sweets.
I've rambled on long enough. Let's take a look. Top 10 British sweets. Can't wait. Genuinely, I am excited for this.
And today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 British sweets you can't get in America.
Okay.
That was a bit of a laugh, wasn't it?
Before we begin, we publish new
Chocolate buttons, but you can't get them in America.
that aren't often exported. We'll be ranking the uniquely British treats that aren't often exported to the United States. We realise that some of these delicious treats do show up occasionally at specialty shops, but these homegrown traditions should be a challenge for most Americans to track down.
I wonder if that's because they are, companies located in Britain that just don't physically
Well,
export
Cadbury's is
to
American
the
now,
US,
so...
Or if it's for another reason, that they just don't think the United States demographic would like beef.
I think that part of it is that American chocolate isn't very nice compared to UK chocolate, British chocolate. And those companies know that you're going to get people travelling between the two countries, and then you're going to be highlighting the differences in chocolate quality between the two countries. And they'll probably start to get quite a lot of flack from that, I'm guessing. But there again, McDonald's, they're different between each country. They managed to weather it, so maybe not. Put in the comments if you know why they don't get sold, even though it's now an American company.
Bean and tea flavored flapjack bars. There's a
I think I'll skip that
on
one.
this list, by the way. Exactly that.
Can you think of any we missed? Let us know in the comments.
We don't know yet.
Number 10. Crunchy.
Cracker Crunchy, the champagne bar.
What?
If there's one name that's synonymous with British chocolate, it's Cadbury.
Doesn't
we're
mean
not
literally.
talking about the Hershey-produced stuff that's marketed as Cadbury in the States.
Yeah, because you can get Cadbury eggs. That's the only Cadbury I've heard of in the United States. The eggs. But hold on. We're getting past the part where
I thought he might go
this
back
is
to
a champagne
Yeah.
candy bar.
Kind
What
of.
does that mean? They were popping it. What does this mean? Hold on.
If there's one name that
Crunchy, the champagne bar.
The champagne bar. Does that mean it's flavored like champagne?
That'll be a thing, wouldn't it?
Or because it has the fun popping thing? Or okay.
the real stuff.
Kind of neither. It's champagne coloured. It's basically cinder toffee with chocolate around it. Cinder toffee's kind of bubbly inside, isn't it? And it's also kind of crunchy when you snap it. So that's what they're on about. Bubbly as in champagne bubbly, and champagne colour because it's kind of yellowy. The snapping, popping bit just because it's crunchy. Hence the name, I guess.
Ours has to be the Crunchy, a delicious mixture of
nice.
chocolate and honeycomb that provides an addictive taste.
Yeah, we just call cinder toffee honeycomb. I know you've got about 10 names for it in the US, but cinder toffee is probably something that you'll recognise the name of. But it's honeycomb, cinder toffee, it's the same thing.
That Friday feeling.
Honey and what?
Honeycomb.
Honeycomb?
One of the better Cadbury bars has to be the Crunchy.
Yeah, cinder toffee, it's got kind of a honeycomb type. Yeah, it's got the air pockets in there, isn't it? Doesn't mean literal honeycomb or anything like that.
A delicious mixture of chocolate and honeycomb that
Chocolate and honeycomb. Honeycomb? I'm not exactly sure what he means by that. Like a honeycomb
Chocolate-covered cinder toffee.
wafer-shaped thing? Certainly not. You're not sticking a wasp's nest. A bee's nest, I should say. I don't know if wasps do honey.
There's no honey to it.
Bee's nest. Cutting it open, taking a honeycomb.
Yeah, I don't know why honeycomb's called honeycomb, because no, there is no honey to honeycomb. It is just cinder toffee.
Out, sticking it in the candy bar. Kind of doubt that's what he means.
provides an addictive taste.
That Friday feeling. You just can't keep it in.
The Crunchy
Okay.
has also seen different variations on its recipe over the years, with citrus-flavoured varieties and even cheesecake concoctions being sold. You know,
Okay.
That sounds quite nice,
course.
actually.
For many, however, it's the OG Crunchy that serves as one of the best of British chocolate bars missing from American store shelves.
Crunchy. Enjoy the shattering honeycomb.
I'm still not sure I quite understand what it tastes like. He said it had a unique taste, like a crunchy bar, that original crunchy bar taste. But I don't think he really described it very well to me. I don't
Just
know. I'd be
normal
interested
cinder
to try
toffee
that.
with chocolate
Champagne.
on it, but
I'm
creamy
still
chocolate.
stuck on the champagne bar thing. Is that?
Yeah, that's just about the bubbles and the colour, not anything literal.
Okay.
Number 9. Hobnobs. Now, we're not trying to say that the US doesn't enjoy eating a good biscuit now and then, but we Brits love our biscuits.
Oh.
Hobnobs are among the best out there as well.
No, they're not.
Hobnobs. That's a funny name. Is it like a brand name of a biscuit you bake?
It's actually a bit of a rip-off name because it's a fairly recent addition, as in 70s, 80s, sort of recent, to the biscuit world. But there's an old expression of hobnobbing, which is mixing with the very posh. They were called hobnobs. And to make the biscuits seem like it had been around forever since Victorian era, a marketing company suggested that they call them hobnobs. And then people just instantly accepted them and kind of assumed that there was an old biscuit that had been brought back just to get it to sell. And they are quite popular, but they're basically like oats, like where you make porridge out of, or flapjack or something. They're those, but pressed together in a biscuit shape. So they're it's stiffer than a cookie, but not quite as tough as what a traditional English biscuit would be, British biscuit would be.
Is this like a bready biscuit? We
No,
do
well,
eat these
oats.
from time to time with white gravy for breakfast or for
White
Thanksgiving.
gravy?
A biscuit.
Traditional baked delight made from delicious
White gravy
oats.
on your breakfast,
Oh,
did you
and
just
didn't
say?
mention there's milk chocolate and orange varieties too?
Oh.
Hobnobs taste great with tea or coffee. The ultimate dunkable for that afternoon treat or evening snack.
Hold on. This picture.
Or
this,
coffee.
This. I don't know what to think about this. This makes it look kind of like a cookie, kind of
Yeah,
hard.
it kind of is, yeah.
And what did they say it goes with?
The ultimate dunkable for that afternoon treat or evening
Yeah, I
snack.
don't know about that.
The ultimate dunkable.
I can think of a lot of other biscuits that are not only nicer than hobnobs, but also better for putting in your cup of tea. Because that's something that British people do. They'll dip the biscuits in their tea or their coffee. Of course, there's always a risk when you're doing that, because if you leave it too long and it breaks and you end up with half it stuck in your drink, that's not so great. So you probably want to choose your biscuit. And if you did it with a hobnob, you'll end up with bits of oats and crumbs and stuff floating around in your drink. So I wouldn't be dipping hobnobs. I reckon just the guy who made that original video, it's just his favourite biscuit.
Dunking into what exactly? Tea or milk or
Tea or coffee.
one nibble and you're nobbled. One nibble and you're nobbled. What does that mean? That sounds kind of scary. I don't know if I want to be nobbled. Oh, it's called hobnobs. Like that tells me anything. Hobnob. Does that mean something? Is that just the name of the biscuit? I have a lot of... This is
Yeah.
creating a lot more questions than answering for me.
Some hip American stores have been known to stock hobnobs, but this seems to be the exception rather than the rule.
Yeah.
Still, we hope that more folks across the pond discover the taste power of these little biscuits.
Yeah, look at that. Hold on. Rewind. This makes it look kind of crumbly and crunchy. And
They are
I thought
softer
it
than a
was
traditional
the
biscuit.
baked biscuits we have kind of not too often in the United States, are very fluffy and loose, and usually part of a meal, honestly, like bread. This is like a little snack or something. Or a sweet, I should say. Sorry, sweet. Okay.
One nibble, and you're home.
Yeah, just if it's the afternoon or the morning or something like that, and you're a little bit peckish, or you just want something sugary, then you might have a couple of biscuits and dip them in your drink. But it's not like not a cake type thing though. Most biscuits in the UK, like ginger biscuits, they're really tough biscuits. They go with a big crunch when you try to bite them. Or custard creams, they're too like thin pastry biscuity type biscuits, I guess, with cream in the middle, vanilla flavoured cream, and they're about the same sort of dimensions but rectangular in shape and about as thick as your little finger. Just dozens and dozens of different varieties of biscuits. Hobnob, it's not a great example because it's made with oats, so it does make it look a little bit more towards a cookie rather than a traditional British biscuit.
Number 8.
I like all the marketing for all these. The other one had exploding things everywhere. This has the nobbled. Okay, I like it.
Of these little biscuits.
One nibble, and you're hobnobbled.
Okay.
Number 8. Wham bars. We've had some chocolate and we've had some crunch. How about a little chew? Wham bars are a uniquely UK treat that focuses its flavour profile, for the most part, on that sweet, sweet citrus. Pieces of sherbet are enrobed in small, chewy bars with strawberry, raspberry, and even cola varieties showing up on store shelves.
This looks like Laffy Taffy, or an Airhead even. Yeah, a long bar of a sweet, fruity candy thing. There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I don't know what the Laffy Taffy and all the rest of it is. Never heard of those. But I won't buy it. It's basically like a chewy candy. The reason why they stand out a little bit more is because they put very zesty type things in there. So when you get sweet and sour jelly sweets, it's got the sweet and sour type sugar on there. So you eat one and your face instantly shrivels up as the sour bit starts to do its stuff. Well, you get that kind of sprinkled as like a sherbet. I don't know what the equivalent of sherbet is. But it's basically a very tangy sort of powdery type stuff that you get running through the centre of the wham bar. So you get the normal fruit flavoured kind of chew. The actual bar itself, they're usually probably 5 inches long, an inch wide, and an eighth of an inch in thickness. Quite small.
Taffy comes to mind. Citrus flavored. Okay.
That's the zesty type bit.
It's very exciting.
Like fizzy.
Certainly never heard of any of this stuff, by the way, if that's not obvious.
Definitely an acquired taste, and we can understand how the US might not be ready for the experience.
They did used to be a lot bigger as well. I know that everybody says, when I was younger the sweets were bigger, but they really were. They used to be, at school you used to get really big rulers, the ones that were for the A4 size, and you could have it lengthways on your page, and they were easily like an inch and a half wide. The wham bars were pretty much the same size as those rulers, whereas now they're more like the smaller 7 or 8 inch rulers that you can use that just about underlining the title on your page. They're more like that sort of size now, and they've obviously gone up with inflation of normal sort of price, so you're getting, I would say, a quarter of the actual sweet, even though the price has increased along with everyone else. So they're nowhere near as good as what they used to be.
Candies, food, even coffee stuff is an acquired taste.
Coffee,
it's
no,
funny
that's just
how
horrible in
acquired
a sweet.
work, because you kind of start, something can kind of taste a little bad or a little weird, and you kind of like it. You kind of.
No, coffee belongs in a cup with milk, not in a sweet. That's just wrong with this.
Like how it tastes a little bad when you acquire the taste.
Hopefully, that will change, because we think America is definitely missing out. Number 7, Galaxy Minstrels. There are a variety of chocolate buttons out there for the discriminating British candy consumer. Galaxy Minstrels are a cut above, however.
Galaxy Minstrels. Galaxy. Pleasure worth sharing. Wow. Okay. Sharing the pleasure. Why not? What makes them Galaxy? What's a minstrel? Okay.
A tiny and portable confection that shares a lot of similarities with the classic M&M candies.
Oh, it's like an M&M. Certainly, people in Britain
Not really.
have M&Ms. Certainly. I am never willing to accept M&Ms aren't everywhere in the world.
Yeah, you do get M&Ms in the UK, but I don't think we get all of the colours. I think some colours aren't allowed because of the E numbers.
Although we don't have Galaxy Minstrels.
Minstrels aren't like
wouldn't the Galaxy
M&Ms.
Minstrels kind of overlap with the M&M market, like he's saying? Oh boy, I don't know if I can live in a world where there's not M&Ms everywhere.
After all, Galaxy Minstrels are basically just milk chocolate coated in a hard candy shell.
Okay.
Away for a moment with Galaxy Minstrels.
Okay.
We'd argue that these hit a wee bit different, however, perhaps thanks to the actual taste of the chocolate used within the minstrel. The Galaxy recipe is rich and complex, providing a more satisfying snack experience that we just love to call our own.
Oh, fancy M&Ms. These are fancy.
Yeah, they're not like M&Ms. They're a lot bigger for a start. They're about 3/4 of an inch wide, probably not a bit less than a quarter, between 1/8 and 1/4 of an inch thick, in like a flying saucer oval sort of shape. The candy shell is a bit like the M&M type candy shell. The chocolate itself, though, is a thick, creamy chocolate. But you would probably fit about 4 or 5 M&Ms into one minstrel, although everything's been cut back with the amounts and stuff. So they probably made them the size of pinheads by now, but last time I had some, you'd probably fit at least 4 M&Ms into one minstrel.
Like more chocolatey? More like nicer version of an M&M?
Yeah.
I like the sound of that. I actually do. I'd be interested to compare this. Although Americans kind of like to grab a bunch of M&Ms and shove as much as humanly possible into their mouth, whereas these seem so much like you don't get as much, and they're a little nicer. And
Well,
they
because
want
they're
you to
bigger,
kind of
you'd eat one
savor
at a
each
time.
one a little more. I don't know if that's quite
Generally.
our style. I'd give it a try, or I could shove the whole bag in my mouth. Either works.
Chocolate. Think one at a time. Think Galaxy Minstrels.
Number 6. Aero chocolate bars. Aero bars are another sweet that has made its way over to the United States, but for one reason or another, never seem to acquire the same sort of profile that they enjoy here in the UK.
Aero.
Yeah. Oh, geez. Have I seen these? I was going to say I've
think they're
never
made by
seen this
Nestle.
ever. And I might not have. But something in me is telling me I've seen these at a grocery store, maybe. The packaging looks a little familiar. It's a tough market, just a chocolate bar. Competitive market to try to break into.
Yeah, Aeros aren't really a standard sort of chocolate bar. It's like a fluffy type chocolate. They're called Aeros because there's air kind of blown throughout it as the chocolate's setting. So it means that when you bite into it, it's very, very soft. And it's also got quite a low melting point. So, yeah, when you bite a piece off and put it in your mouth, just keep it in your mouth and it will melt quite quickly, and it's quite a nice creamy chocolate. So it's not just like taking a bite of normal chocolate. It's a lot more fluffy and a lot creamier.
I admire that, I do.
All bubble, no squeak.
Perhaps it's due to the Aero's unique mouth feel, as its bubbly texture melts down
Yeah,
with
exactly.
each bite. There's also the Aero bar's rich history as a classic UK candy, having been first introduced way back in 1935.
Aero melts into pure chocolate pleasure. Have you felt the bubbles melt?
Whatever the reason,
Bubbles? Yeah, I've definitely never had this. That's for sure. I've never had it. Might have heard of it. Sounds interesting. What do they taste like, you know? I'm a bit of a chocolate bar connoisseur myself. So I'd be willing to try this. I'll give everything its fair share. If it's candy.
I'll eat that
we
chocolate if I have
guarantee
to.
there's an Aero bar for everyone, whether you happen to be into
There we
chunky
go, the mint
chocolate,
one.
chocolate with mint, orange flavouring, or honeycomb. This one has got you covered.
Is that a recurring theme here? It seems like a lot of the sweets tend to have a variety that is orange flavored. Is that popular in Britain? Having
Not particularly, but they use a very tangy orange if you're going to get orange in a chocolate bar or sweet. So it means it's just got a bit like them sour sweet type idea, but not quite that harsh. So the orange ones would just be quite orangey, quite tangy. The mint ones are just nice, just minty but not too minty. And you got the nice creamy fluffy chocolate and centre to go with it, so they're quite good. Honeycomb one, never had that, but again, honeycomb, cinder toffee. Not really sure if it will be a great mix with an arrow, but they're two good things on their own, so it's probably still quite nice.
The orange variant, I'm somewhat familiar with that. That's not unheard of, but it just seems like it might be popular. Maybe.
Nah, I think I'll just stick with me bubbly chocolate.
Number 5, Smarties.
Oh.
The story of Smarties is similar to that of Cadbury, in that the version of the candy we have here in the UK is much different than what's sold in the United States.
Oh, yes. Yes, they are. These are not the Smarties I thought.
They're kind of like M&Ms.
These are not Smarties. Not American Smarties. American Smarties look...
Yeah, UK Smarties are pretty similar to the M&Ms because it's a hard candy shell with chocolate in the middle. They're about the size of your little fingernail. They're not very big. Used to come in a tube and you could squash the end of the tube and pop the top out and fire it at people. They used to be quite good. But there used to be a plastic cap that fitted in the tube, so they don't do it anymore because of people potentially choking on them. But they were great for firing at people though.
See, if I Google Smarties in Google and I'm in... Oh, look! They showed up right here. The Smarties in the Britain. Wow, I actually didn't know if that would happen or not. Yeah, there they are again. Wow, they do exist. Anyway, here we go. This is a real Smartie. Ooh, mega
They love
pack,
hearts.
24 pieces. Yes, let's blow it up.
They love hearts, aren't
This is for little tiny children. Let us know if you have any questions. Oh, that's nice. About the Smarties? Oh, not really. They look like pills. They look like medicine, tablets. They are addictive. Literally sugar, forcefully packed into a pill shape and given to children to make them insane. But we love them. You really stop getting these when you grow up. It's kind of sad. You just find these in little children's goodie.
Yeah, we do have something similar to that in the UK, but they're called Love Hearts. Because there are other generic sort of versions. I've seen them in other standard type sweets. But the main thing like that, they're called Love Hearts, and they're called Love Hearts because they've got a picture of a heart kind of stenciled into it. And you get little sentences on them. It would say like, I don't know, be mine or your ace or something like that. Just little 1 or 2 worded nice things, but that's why they're called Love Hearts. But they look like they're probably slightly bigger than Love Hearts. And again, Love Hearts, they're the sort of thing that you get when you're for the little kids rather than as a general sweet. So that's why, and they're just pressed kind of sugar powder type stuff. So I think they're the same thing. Used to get another one that was called Violets, I think, and they were a similar sort of idea. But they were like I was going to say blackcurrant flavour, but it was more like lavender or something. If anybody knows or can remember what Violets were, what the flavouring was, then put it in the comment section. But I keep thinking lavender, but I can't see why you'd have a sweet tasting of lavender. Even if it was full of sugar.
Bags or at Halloween or... Yeah, this brings back memories. Anyway, these Smarties in Britain...
You still do for that,
seem like they come in a much bigger package and seem like more of a...
No, that's not one pack, that's a whole load of packs in there.
Maybe.
The Smarties recipe over there is a pleasantly chalky fruit-flavoured
Yeah, that bowl, that was probably about 10 packets worth in there.
Candy with chocolate never coming into the picture. British Smarties are much different. Tiny chocolate pieces with a brightly coloured candy shell.
Oh, the British version Smarties has chocolate? Oh, that makes them completely
Yeah, they really are like M&Ms.
Completely. Because you're basically taking in a pill of pure concentrated sugar. And that's not an exaggeration. That would be the is literally just sugar packed into a pill.
Very they're quite nice though.
They're much different.
In fact, with the Love Heart type stuff, that pressed sugar type thing, the other thing you used to get, and you still can actually in the UK, is necklaces made out of little kind of round beads of that type of stuff. And it almost looks like like an ancient Zulu or African type necklace with the coloured beads going around. They're kind of made to look a bit like that. And so you could, stick it around your head and pull the front up to your mouth and just kind of chew on them up as you was doing whatever. And it's held together with like a string of elastic. But I don't know if they still do it now. The elastic wasn't kind of unbreakable, so it's not like you could strangle yourself with it. But at the same time, in today's society, I'm not sure they still do that. They probably have them with a piece of edible cord or something. But yeah, so there was a couple of varieties of them kind of pressed sweets.
Tiny chocolate pieces with a brightly coloured candy shell. This may come as a surprise to the uninitiated, as UK Smarties almost look like Skittles, only with a delicious chocolate centre. We think that a Smarties swap is in order.
Yeah, Skittles, that's it, not M&M's, Skittles. Yeah, M&M's, they're more round, aren't they? Yeah, Skittles oval shaped. Yeah, no, I forgot about that bit. But otherwise, essentially the same.
M&M's? And the other, what did we have before?
The minstrels are much bigger.
Minstrels? Yeah, Galaxy Minstrels, was it? Now.
Yeah, the minstrels there, if you bend the end of your thumb over, the bit between your nail and kind of the joint bit of your thumb, they'd kind of fit in that sort of space. Whereas the Smarties, they're more like the size of your little fingernail, maybe a little bit bigger. Assume you haven't got long nails.
There's been a few candies here that are kind of overlapping with the M&M's space. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, I think it's just that the pictures are deceiving.
Let's see how the other half lives.
Only Smarties have the answer.
Number 4, Kit Kat Chunky.
When I'm on a break and a chocolate craving hits, nothing beats a chunky.
Fact, everyone loves Kit Kats. But did you know that these classic chocolate wafer candies are a UK original? It's true.
Oh, I didn't know that. Kit Kat Chunky. Familiar with Kit Kats? For some reason, Kit Kats aren't the most... You don't see them that often, and I don't know why. Because they're really unique and actually pretty addictive. Kit Kat Chunky, I have to say. I like where we're going with this.
Kit Kats are developed and distributed around the world by Nestle and Hershey, but they were originally by the York Candy Company, Roundtree. We're particularly fond of the Kit Kat Chunky, a beastly bar that, as of yet, still hasn't made strong headway into the US shores. And we...
What? It's a giant, humongous Kit Kat. It's just one, and it's giant. This...
Yeah, they are. It's basically all 4 fingers from a normal Kit Kat, but made into like one big finger. But they're probably 2 of your human fingers, 2 human fingers wide. And for the length of, they're rectangular in shape, so the width and the height is about the same. So 2 fingers wide, 2 fingers high. The length, if you get your 2 little fingers and stick them together so that your 2 little fingernails are touching each other, the distance between your 2 knuckles, so like the beginning of your little fingers each side, that's about the length. What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 inches, something like that. I mean, again, all the chocolate sizes have been reduced as some big reduced sugar and help with the obesity type initiative. The chocolate companies cut all of their product by about 1/3. They increase the cost as well, because obviously, they don't want to take chocolate off you for nothing. They want to charge you for it. But yeah, so they're probably even smaller by now, but they're very, very nice. And it's probably a bit nicer than the single pack of like 4-finger type traditional ones.
Should absolutely be in America. I would love
I'm surprised that they're not.
Americans would love this. It might even help the Kit Kat sales. People
I don't remember the
caramel
ones.
Don't buy Kit Kats.
They don't sound too nice.
I have to whisper like this is some dark secret. But if it was a giant Kit Kat with fudge peeking out like this one, that would be interesting. Be new. I like it.
We can sort of see why, since these fancier Kit Kats eat more like a meal than a snack, with heavy-duty variations like caramel and peanut butter giving us the best kind of tummy ache. 2 words, worth it.
Have a big...
I love it. I think
the
this
peanut
might
butter
be
one was a bit sickly.
one of the most promising to make the leap to the U.S. market. I'm not kidding.
Break. Have a new Kit Kat Chunky.
Number 3, Maltesers. Okay, So we can't ignore the proverbial elephant in the room by not mentioning the fact that Maltesers were originally intended as a sort of diet chocolate snack for women that were watching their figure.
Oh. Okay.
It's just a marketing ploy, though.
Sexism aside, we'd argue that Maltesers are there for everyone. A malted milk chocolate ball that makes for a perfect cinema snack.
Okay, so they were originally meant as a diet chocolate? Funny concept. Diet chocolate. Yeah, sure.
No, it's because, again, that's cinder toffee that's in the centre of it. Cinder toffee in a chocolate coating. They're round, they're about the size of your thumbnail round, like a marble. But because it's cinder toffee, you know, it's got air holes in there, it's bubbles. So then you've technically kind of got less. If you was to crush it up, there'll be less there overall. And so they tried to market it as, oh, if you want some chocolate, have ours, because even though it seems like a normal chocolate bar, you're not getting as much sweet stuff, so it's going to be a lot better for you. So yeah, they did try to market it as a healthy idea for a chocolate bar. Not because it was, but just because they thought they would sell more. Which they did, but not because of their ridiculous marketing, but because they're just really, really nice and very Moorish. They're like Pringles. You know, you don't just open them and have one or two, you end up eating, well, all of them.
It's like, hey, this is actually just a good snack. So it's like a lighter malted milk ball chocolate thing. Okay. Americans, for some reason, don't tend to love stuff like this.
The bite-sized shape makes it easy to snack on a couple or a couple handfuls, whilst the Malteser flavour profile is just a wee bit lighter than your average candy.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing, you know. When I have a chocolate ball stuffed into my mouth, you want to know it's there, you know? You want to taste it, you want to feel it.
They are
I'm
nice.
not there to fool around and have a light chocolate, you know? Oh, I kind of taste this. No. You're going to want to know you got a disgusting, unhealthy chocolate sweet in your mouth, so...
Yeah, the main part to it is the cinder toffee in the middle, I guess, though. It's not quite as heavy as traditional cinder toffee. It is a little bit kind of not as strong in taste, I guess. So mixing with the chocolate makes it a little bit more unique. And that's one of the reasons that they're so popular.
I don't think this would work quite well in America, but cool concept. I get it.
But hey, we think that just makes it easier to eat more, right?
Better? Yeah, much better.
Number 2, wine gums. Some sweets on this list seem tailor-made for the export market, while others, well, let's just say we can sort of see why they haven't caught on abroad.
Some of these commercials are pretty funny, mostly because they're so weird. Wine gums. What does that mean? Is there
It's
wine
misleading, that's what it means.
Do you use your gums to gum them? Is it because they're gummies? They're just kind of average little fruit chew gummy things? All right.
All in a name for the wine gum.
They're basically just jelly sweets. There's no wine in them, but they do have the names of different wine type things on them. Like, I don't know, port and things like that, which is a type of sherry. But they're basically just fruit flavoured jellies. Not super hard jelly, but not that soft either. Somewhere in the middle sort of marker. They're also quite boring. Quite nice, but quite boring.
Curious moniker for what's otherwise a kicked up jellyful bean. There's no actual alcohol in a wine gum, with the overall flavour profile being a variety of fruit flavours that possess a goody gumdrop taste. Sugar, gelatin, citric acid, and your favourite fruit flavour.
Are these popular? These are actually popular in Britain? I wonder
really.
why. They seem kind of boring to me. No offense to the wine gum lovers.
Yeah, they're popular and still exist because they're one of the older sweets that's been around for a long time. So I think that there's a population that still buy them. But yeah, they are a pretty boring sweet.
But this seems a little... This is just gummies. There's a million different types of these. You know? I don't know about these.
Any way you slice it, they're delicious.
Set the juice loose!
Before we name our number 1 pick, here are a few honourable mentions.
Okay.
Fruit pastels, a child.
They're quite nice.
Our quest continues.
Roundtree's fruit.
Fruit pastels are a bit like American wine gums. or hard gums. So it's a pretty tough kind of layer around a jellyish sort of centre. The whole thing's jelly, it's just the outside bit's a bit tougher. And they're basically dipped in sugar with quite vivid fruit taste. They're quite nice. And if you're quite tired, they're very good for picking you back up again because they're dipped in sugar.
Fruit pastilles with real fruit flavour. You can't help but chew.
Flake bars. Does what it says on the tin. Tasty and flaky.
Cadbury's Flake, the crumbliest, flakiest milk chocolate in the world.
Flaky? What does flaky even mean? Like, I get what... I know what flake means. don't forget I said that. What does that mean in the context of a chocolate bar?
They're flaky because they do crumble when you bite into them. But it is a nice creamy sort of chocolate, but it's like spaghetti from spaghetti bolognese, like loads of strands of chocolate that's still kind of melting, and they're kind of twisted together at the same time. So like if you got loads of ready cooked spaghetti and you pushed it to be about the thickness of your finger or something like that, you imagine a creamy chocolate version of that. That's pretty much what a flake is. We would have them stuck in the top of an ice cream as well as a chocolate bar. But they are very, very messy because they break up when you bite them because it's all these thin little strands of extruded chocolate.
Flaking off in your mouth as you kind of nibble on it?
Well, just as you bite it.
I don't quite understand.
Penguin bars. Chocolate, biscuit and cream. Yes, please.
Okay.
Pick up a new, more chocolate penguin.
Number 1. Jaffa.
Penguins are basically 2 biscuits with a cream centre and chocolate on the outside. Get different flavours and they are quite nice.
Cakes. The United States may
Jaffa
not
cakes.
be up to date on Jaffa cakes, but we say give it time. It'll happen.
Yeah, I can't help but think that a lot of this list is just based around what the guy made making the video. I don't mean Tyler, I mean the original video. They're just his preferences on what he particularly likes himself, because all of the things that he's mentioned are quite nice, but there are a lot nicer other things out there that you probably or most likely also don't get in the US. Things like the Star Bar and the Karamak Bar and all sorts of other things. But the Jaffa Cake, that's an unusual one to pick. They are really, really nice and they're very Moorish, but it's quite unusual that he's put it on the list for sweets, because it's not really a sweet, it's a cross between a biscuit and a cake.
Is this anything like a Little Debbie snack?
I mean like a British biscuit, not your scone type biscuit. I don't know what a Debbie snack is.
If some people are familiar with that, or a Twinkie, or things like that, this is the first kind of item that reminds me of a snack cake. Snack cakes, packaged snack cakes, are extraordinarily popular in the United States. So I'm actually surprised. This is the first one that reminds me of that. Jaffa cakes. What does that mean? Like, what's the flavor? The name does not tell me too much.
Kind of tangy
Because
orange
why
again.
wouldn't you want to get
Orange.
down with such a perfect combination of tastes and flavours? You want sponge cake? We got your sponge cake right here. Jam, you say? Jaffa cakes have that too. And you just gotta have chocolate, right?
Yeah, it's not really jam, it's more of a solid jelly.
It's the holy trinity of snacking sweet deliciousness.
What? Chocolate sort of biscuit jam?
No, not really.
This is interesting. This caught me a little off guard because I thought this was going to be more of an American snack cake, because that's all I have to base this stuff on. This really...
Yeah, the bottom section, the main kind of heart of it, is like a sponge cake. Not crumbly sponge, it's kind of quite smooth on the bottom. So almost like a pancake even. Somewhere between a pancake and a sponge cake. That's the texture of it. In the centre, there's a blob. The guide said jam, but it's jelly. Usually quite tangy, orange flavoured jelly. And then there's chocolate poured all around it. Well, actually, the chocolate side, I guess, will be the bottom, thinking about how they'll make them. But when you're eating them, then you'll have the chocolate at the top. They are very nice, though.
He threw me for a curveball. I gotta hear the ingredients again.
Sponge cake right here.
Oh, sponge cake.
Of tastes and flavours. You want
Kind
sponge
of.
cake? We got your sponge cake right here. Jam, you say?
But it is closer to, like American pancake rather than a sponge cake.
Jaffa cakes have that too. And you just gotta have chocolate, right? It's the holy trinity of snacking sweet deliciousness.
We just don't have jam thing that's popular in America. People use jam from time to time. Weirdos use jam. It's not in our snacks, so this is interesting.
A heavenly combo.
If you can get like mini Swiss rolls, which are like your chocolate log type idea, where it's like a sponge cake that's rolled up, and you get jam and cream in the bit that's rolled up. You do get mini ones of those that are kind of like about the length of your finger or something, about 2 fingers thick. So you'd have kind of a jam in that, but you wouldn't really detect that it was. You wouldn't bite into it and think, oh, I can taste jam in there. You just know that there's something sweet and nice in there along with the cream. But what is got on there isn't jam. You don't get. Well, maybe they technically describe it as jam on their blurb, but realistically, it's a blob of fairly hard jelly, so that you end up kind of putting them in your mouth, letting the chocolate melt, and then you kind of get to access the jelly part, which is really tangy orange. Why orange and mint all the time? I'm not sure. I think it's just the 2 easiest, most straightforward flavours for them to keep reproducing. And orange is a great one to make nice and tangy and sharp, which is a good contrast to the nice sweet chocolate, especially with the cake part. Mint, it just makes chocolate a little bit more refreshing, I guess, if that's the right word, because it's obviously not actually refreshing, but I think that's why we end up seeing a lot of mint and orange in the chocolates. But I say a lot, you're probably only on about 2% of all the chocolate bars out there, 1% maybe. It's not really a thing. It's just if you are going to get a flavour like that, then those are likely to crop up in it somewhere along the line.
Combo that can be enjoyed with tea, coffee, or right out of the box.
That's a
we're saying enjoy with tea and coffee. You don't go dipping them into your hot drink. If you dip that into your drink, then it's like getting a normal foot sponge cake and putting that into your coffee. You'd get exactly the same result. I think the bloke made the original video. I think that it's just his personal preferences, and he's trying to make out that they're normal, but I just don't think that they are.
Another attribute of some of these is that some of the most popular sweets tend to be things that you can pair with dunking into stuff, or pair with a nice afternoon snack, something like that.
If you're going to have your lunch, one of the big things that you get in the UK that you don't seem to get as much in the US is, say, halfway through the day when you're at work, if you go to a local shop to get some, especially a supermarket, to get something for dinner, you get a lot of sandwich deals, so you can get pre-packed sandwiches. You get a lot of meal deals, so that for a discounted price, you kind of get your sandwiches, packet of crisps, and some pop, and usually a chocolate bar. You can either have crisps or a chocolate bar. And that's the sort of time when you eat a chocolate bar, you sit down for your midday, you want something sugary. But biscuits, they're just morning or mid-afternoon or something. You can eat them anytime, but if you was going to eat biscuits, then it'd be more like them when you're sitting down with a coffee for half an hour or something. You wouldn't really sit down with a chocolate bar then, and you definitely wouldn't go dipping your Jaffa cakes in your coffee. Not unless you're very, very odd.
Whereas there's no real culture of that kind of thing. Sitting down with tea and enjoying a what's this called? Jaffa cake. There's no concept of that in the United States. So
McVitie's Jaffa Cakes, deliciously self-centered.
Although orange jam flavouring is preferred, Jaffa Cakes are...
The orange again! The orange flavouring! What is that? Is it that good?
Like I said, it's because it's
a
a
little
tangy
random to me, I'm not going to lie. The orange flavouring, but okay.
Self-centered.
Although orange jam flavouring is preferred, Jaffa Cakes have also been sold in other flavours as well, from strawberry and lemon and lime to blackcurrant. Yum. We think we might actually go enjoy a few right now.
Might be alright, but...
I like these commercials, by the way. I'm listening to him, but I'm also watching the commercials for the first time. They're random. They're funny. They would get me to be a customer.
McVitie's Jaffa Cakes, the zesty mischief of McVitie's.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from Watch Mojo UK and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest...
Okay, that's it. That is it. The top 10 British sweets. There you go. I liked that. That was by Watch Mojo UK, by the way. I give that a like.
They're just Mojo's top 10. They're definitely not the most popular sweets in the UK. And I know that he's not looking at the most popular overall. He's looking at the most popular that you can't get in America. But I'm sure there must be a lot of others, especially if the only Cadbury's that you're seeing is Cadbury's Cream Egg, because Cadbury's is one of the largest chocolate producers and sweets, chocolate bars, that sort of stuff in the UK. You've got a couple of other companies, Rowntree's and Nestle and stuff, but Cadbury's, they really do hold the general monopoly for general sort of sweets.
Thanks to Amazon, I've become a fan of several British candies. I love British Smarties and the Aero Bar. Yeah, I gotta order some of this stuff. Learning about it on the video is a lot of fun, but eating them would be even more fun.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
Because some of these, I understand what they're saying. They can even read the ingredients to me. But, you can't truly experience
it's not
a
gonna
British
work,
sweet until you
You
eat
need
it.
to eat it.
But this was perfect for at least making me aware of their existence. And they are some of them are the same as some American candies that remind me of them. But some of these are just out of right field or just out of nowhere. Just stuff that has to do more with the culture of Britain, I think, which is really fascinating. I never thought of candy and sweets as identifying with a culture, but they do. They definitely do, and that's amazing. It's cool. Anyway, if you thought this video was amazing and cool as well.
Okay, I think he's pretty much at the end of his video. Yeah, Jaffa cakes, they're not really sweets. I don't know why they were even lumped in with it. For actual sweets, if you want, like actual chews and type things, then there's loads of those, and I guess that they're probably going to be generically pretty much the same in both our countries, just with different packaging and styles and stuff like that. For chocolate bars, I would have thought because Cadbury's is now American, because I think that Kraft own Cadbury's. I think they do now. Anybody that knows in the comments whether Cadbury's is now owned by Kraft, add it to the comments. But yeah, a lot of the chocolate bars throughout the UK, there's a lot nicer ones than what he's mentioned. Like I said, Star bars, they're quite nice. Lion bars, not so nice as what they used to be. But there are just dozens, but I'll just be rambling out names that mean nothing to you, so there's no point me doing that. But the ones that he's chosen, some of them are quite popular, and they're all still sold, and they all are popular. But whether they're the most popular or the nicest, I'm not sure about that. And thinking that Cadbury's make most of them, then I would assume that you probably can't get most of them in the US, because you said the only Cadbury's product that you're seeing is the Cadbury's Cream Egg. And even that, I suspect, is probably different in the US to what it is in the UK, because your chocolate's different for a start. So if it had proper British chocolate on it, I would have thought that you would have remembered quite distinctly having the Cadbury's Cream Egg, because I think our chocolate's quite a lot creamier than yours. So it will stand out, I would have thought. But I don't know, anybody that does know, put it into the comment section. And also other countries that have been watching this, especially the ones in Europe, are you getting the same chocolate bars as us? Or are your chocolate bars being steered by other countries? By other companies? Yeah, also the people listening across Europe. Now, I know that I've got a feeling, I keep thinking that Cadbury's was bought by a German company for a while, and then it went through to an American company, but I'm not sure about that. Somebody put in the comments if you know. It might have just been Heinz that went to Germany, I'm not sure. But yeah, I guess that you're going to have different brands, different companies across Europe as well as in the US. But is there any crossover? Because, shipment between EU countries and UK and that sort of stuff, it's always been pretty easy. So if our chocolate is nice, then maybe it would be shipped over to your countries as well. Or is it just that our chocolate's the same as most European chocolate, but American chocolate is different to everybody else's chocolate? And I kind of suspect that probably is the case. Anybody that's been to all of those countries, you'd be the best probably to answer the question. If there's anybody out there that's listening to this, then add to the comments what the differences are, because you're probably the best people to actually answer what the differences between all of these different things are. Okay, thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.